This is all my fault. And that's the hard part to digest. But I'm reminded every day because of his son Maestro. Defining a best friend is something I've never been able to come up with words with. Who knew a dog would be the most impactful thing in my life? And he understands me. This is like talking to a human, if I'm being honest. And he's smart, so he knows what he's doing. Man, I tell you, this dude he's an interesting character, people. I was asked to talk about the loss of one of my greatest assets. And all I wanted was 15 years with him. When I think about a man's best friend, and the most important one being ego. Now I have no clue what to do. I've actually never been lost in my life. I just keep trying to find my way. But my best friend's gone. I don't know if I could do this today. Today is the day I want to quit. All I want to do is give up. I didn't sign up to lose the one thing I believed in. So I'm only doing this because I do hope it helps somebody else. I think everybody thinks I'm immune to pain. Hell, I think that sometimes. But here's the truth. I've never really had a best friend. So I don't really know what it's like to lose something of value, something that's important. My life has moved relatively fast for some time, and I've actually never been able to keep up, believe it or not. So losing ego felt like just another normal day. But I'm reminded every day because of his son Maestro that I lost my best dog, my best friend, the very thing I look forward to seeing every day. I don't look forward to much, not in this life. Which then made me go and investigate, what is a best friend? And I gotta be honest, I don't know. And if he was your best friend, you do know your death is his fault, right? Or my fault, not his. This is all my fault. And that's the hard part to digest. I said it in a video moons ago. I went through a series after feeding ego raw dog food. And I knew one day it would come back to get me. I just didn't think it would get me with him. So what is happening is again, anytime your dog's poop gets runny, what's that a sign of? Sign of gastric inflammation and intestinal frustration. So the body, it just gets everything out of there as fast as possible. And if it gets creamy, it's again, you're like, oh, that's normal. No, it shouldn't be normal. It's not normal. So right now, eagle's broken into what we call hives. If you're a pity person, you're gonna say, show. So look at it, look at the bumps on his skin. Look at that. Look at them bumps. That boy is hurting. That boy is hurting. He has not been around grass. He's been in the house for the last few weeks, or last week to be clear. He's been eating dog food, the Merrick brand. It's not done him any justice. On his coat, there's also little bumps letting you know he's in a state of inflammation. My job is to fix it. So what I do instead, I run him straight to Costco, and I'm cooking all his meals for the next at least 2.5, 3 weeks. I'm never going to forget walking into Pet Supply Plus on El Dorado in Little Elm, Texas. About to do a video on the next dog food. And I was looking at the Stella brand. It's the red bag, gorgeous labeling. And I said to myself, all right, this is the next food we're going to break down for 30 days and see what it does to the dog. And I remember looking at the bag and saying, I can't do it. I can't put him through this for another 30 days. Stella people literally got a basket, about to buy 5 bags of these are small ones. The second ingredient on this thing, unfortunately, is peas and lentils. Just gonna do it. Can't do it. I know better. If you know anything about lentils, oftentimes lentils have lectin in it. Lectin is one of those things that is very difficult for even us to digest, which is why we get gassy and crappy, if you would, at times after eating beans. Lentils are beans. When it says grain-free, they add other things to keep the food compact, compressed, so that it actually sticks together. Because it's not a meat patty that they're making. They're compiling a bunch of stuff on this stuff to make sure that it lasts. And anything that has preservatives is not healthy for anybody. So I'm going to have to go the other route, the final route, which is back to the original plan. This dog food ain't it, man. He just got sarcoptic mites from Diamond and something else. And I said, I'm gonna work my way from the low all the way to the high end. And to be very clear, none of it worked. But I'd pay for it one day. I just did not think I'd pay for it after he turned 3 years old. Which brings us to story time. I learned at a very young age how to turn off emotions, because I learned very quickly that nobody cared. Not about me crying, not about me suffering, not about me hurting, not about what I was going through, not about what I was dealing with, not how I felt. So I learned to feel less and walk through fire, because you're going to burn in this life. And then if you want the truth, I'll tell you the whole truth. My dad took every friend away from me. And this is a real name I'll give you. I had a best friend once, and his name was Marcus Ewan. And we were in 8th grade, Smith Hill, South Kansas City. And my dad made up a reason. Gotta be honest, he made up a reason. He took everything away from me. Isolated me. It's torturous mentally in a sense, and violent as well. But I remember telling me, you can't be friends with Marcus anymore. If I'm being honest, that's the last friend I remember next to Stephen Manning. I never could really be friends with Steve, so I always kept him at a distance. Because I learned when I was a 8th grader that anything you get that makes you smile or happy, your dad's going to take away from you. And here we are. I'm over 35 years old, and I've never really had a best friend, man. So, believe it or not, losing ego is just a reminder that I don't get to be happy in this life. I don't get to enjoy the company of company. I don't get to have a best friend. Because just when me and him were getting like this, like that's my guy, man. But it's in those moments that you realize how much you love him, how much you care about him, hell, how much he stresses you out. Because then I began to think, what would I do without this dog? And I'm living that every day. I'll tell you another time. This is some first time stuff here, people. Another time that got me choked up. And I didn't know I could choke, I gotta be honest with you. I was at Hunter's house and we lived there. And I was doing a live in the kitchen. And on that live in the kitchen, I remember saying on the live how important it is for a dog to live a healthy life. And I said out loud, I was like, the day ego no longer can jump and chase the pillow and get active and do this, that's the day this kind of either comes to an end or I failed or it's time for him to go or something. And I remember looking down and I remember my eyes getting watery and I was like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? But at that time, he was only like maybe a year and a half, 2 tops. At that time, I still didn't understand the value of him to me. And it is only now that I, to a degree, have a home where I can kind of put my head and I'm in control of the majority of things, that I'm realizing I lost one of my best friends. And there's nothing that can replace that. Nothing. And if I'm providing more clarity to you, I'm a Billy Bob fan. He's in The Landman, he's in Bad Santa. And I didn't know he lost his brother. We just get to the point. They asked him one time in an interview, hey Billy, how you doing with your brother's loss? He said, I'm never okay with it. You never recover from losing a brother. Now, I've got a brother, I don't really care about him, if I'm being honest. But him and his brother were close. So when he said that, I go, wow. Do you ever really get over the loss of somebody that really impacted your life and your day? And I guess not. And in this case, I've got to look at Maestro every day, watching the behaviors, watching the intelligence, watching the drive things in myself. That's ego. That's ego in a nutshell, pun intended. And I don't have my guy here. Because the only dog that was allowed in the bed more recently, especially when I got here, was ego. Coming there, where's this dog at? It's in the bed, man, chilling, waiting on you. Get in there and fuck with him a little bit. And I struggle because I've said out loud, you guys haven't heard this, but I'm like, these dogs ain't my dogs, man. I only ever went outside to fuck with ego. That was my inspiration. Let's get outside and see what the ego could do. So the title, subject matter of this is rooted in man's best friend. He says that what makes a best friend? If I'm being honest, I don't know.